Voting is a civic duty. Let's register on the electoral list. This is a message from Equinoxe Television.
Hi, sir, to you all. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the news on Equinoxe Television. Thank you so much for being with us. Our major stories tonight: at least one person has been killed, several other persons severely injured, and property destroyed following a bloody confrontation between the Bamums and the Tikas in Magba in the Nous division of the West region. Security has been tightened for now in the area to prevent further confrontations between the two parties. We will be telling you what happened or is happening in Magba in this news edition. Plus, despite sanctions of the transport minister, transport agencies by the Minister for Transport, road accidents are still recurrent in Cameroon. Do these sanctions or suspensions actually reduce or deter careless transport agencies in Cameroon? We attempt an answer in this news edition. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. Tension has been high in the town of Magba. That was on Thursday night between the Tikas and the Bamums following the holding of the annual cultural festival known as Ngun Festival, a festival that is rejected by the Tikas or the Tika people who say they are not the Bamums, and thus this festival is not to be held in their area. After that confrontation, at least one person died, property also destroyed. Let's now have more of what happened in Magba with Mala Glory.
40 shops set ablaze and several material damages recorded following the confrontation between the Tika and the Bamuns community in the town of Magba, west region of the country. The incident that took place Thursday night left fear in the hearts of the inhabitants. This resulted from a conflict between these two tribes over the organization of the upcoming Ngun Festival, a cultural festival common in the Bamun community. According to the Tika, they don't identify themselves with this culture and see no reason why the festival should be organized in their area, a situation that provoked tension between the two tribes, leading to so many casualties. Witnesses say one person died and several others wounded. As a result of the violence, the town of Magba has been placed under tight security since Friday morning. These to maintain calm in the area.
Meantime, 4 persons suspected to have been causing havoc in the central region have been apprehended by security forces. This is coming at a time when the elements of the Gendarmerie Brigade in Pumpuri, under the leadership of Abrakachi, said they arrested a 32-year-old suspected of spreading fake banknotes in the town of Garwa. A roundup of those two stories with Smantikan Gabriel.
From a distance, a passerby will think there is an auction sale of goods at the premises of the company Gendarmerie Brigade in Yaoundé 3. Getting closer, it's clear that the items amongst them, flat-screen TV, laptop, alongside 7 commercial motorcycles, are all stolen items retrieved by the elements of the National Gendarmerie. It was at about 11 p.m. when we received a distress call from someone who has just been robbed of his bike after he was attacked at Singa village. Unfortunately, those who stole the bike didn't know the bike had GPS installed on it. At about 3 a.m. in the morning, after locating where the bike was, we descended and arrested 2 people and brought back 7 bikes, flat-screen television, desktop and other items.
Un desktop, un laptop et plusieurs autres matériaux d'origine douteuse.
According to Chief Warrant Officer Leandri Masanga, thanks to the cooperation of the 2 who were first arrested, they opened up about the other members of the gang. After interrogation, They told us they were not alone, and they cooperated with us to catch the 2 other members who were specialized in motorcycle theft. They will all be handed to the justice system for law to take its course. At the Gendarmerie Brigade of Pumpumre in Garwa, it was 32-year-old Suleimanu Hamadu who was presented by the brigade commander, Abakachi Seidu. The 32-year-old is accused of spreading fake banknotes of the country's currency in Garwa. Hamadu was arrested at the Western neighborhood in Garwa. He confessed to the security forces that the source for his fake banknotes is based in Douala.
Let's now talk about the recurrence of road accidents across major highways in Cameroon. Road offences are on the rise in Cameroon, that is from June 5th, 2024 to this day. Over 2,000 road offences have been recorded across the national territory. The statistics are part of the public account of the Ministry of Transport on the special road safety campaign launched in the month of June. However, Cameroonians have strongly criticized the public account on the minister, saying the government needs to go beyond sanctions to fight the recurrence of road accidents across highways in Cameroon. For me, Armstrong Sanda tells us more.
This public account of a special road safety campaign launched on June the 5th, 2024, the Minister of Transport says road offences are on the rise in Cameroon. Most common of these offences responsible for numerous road accidents are overspeeding, overloading, wrongful overtaking, and failure to wear seat belt. From June the 5th, 2024 to this day, 1,769 offences have been recorded out of the 3,444 cars stopped by officials of the Ministry of Transport, according to the minister. As a solution to reduce offences and consequently road accidents, the minister told Cameroonians that they have withdrawn and suspended more than 175 driving licenses, a solution considered as not enough by Cameroonians.
It's become a routine and people are already used to it. But we think the ministry needs to go beyond that. And
the nature of our road is so bad in such a way that it is very, very impossible not to have accidents on our way. For example, when you look at the Douala-Yaoundé route, that road is very, very narrow. And the number of vehicles that are applying that route, there are many. So the minister should look at it. How can government improve on these routes before we blame the agencies? When you drive from Douala to Mbanga, you see the number of potholes on the route. That is also a cause for concern.
They say the causes of road accidents in Cameroon are more structural and systemic than individual.
So we need to look for other means of transportation that will reduce transportation by road and by so doing reduce the rate of accident. We need to heighten that sensitization so that it becomes a constant thing and not a sensitization that is carried only during some key periods like back to school and the Xmas period.
When these uniform officers are on the highway, most of the time they don't control the vehicles, nor do they control the drivers. They are just interested in what they call settlement.
However, not disengaging the responsibility of agency owners and drivers.
Most of the drivers at times they are drunk when driving.
We need to improve on our policies to ensure that we don't just only give sanctions, but we give incentives to those that are seen to be exemplary in their uses of the road.
The Minister of Transport emphasized that strict adherence to driving rules is imperative and that any violation will be severely punished to ensure the safety of all road users.
Let's now talk about hard drug consumption and insecurity. In the Meme division, precisely in Kumba, where a repentant hard drug consumer champions a no hard drug smoking campaign launched by women of Yango, a neighborhood in the Meme division. The women who went about burning some of the hideouts housing hard drug consumers were asked to desist from the act by a military officer. Let's now have more with Immaculate Fogui.
The fight against the consumption of hard drugs continues in the town of Kumba, southwest region of Cameroon. Targeting hideouts, hosting hard drug dealers and consumers, the women went about setting them ablaze.
Correct them, come
A lot of boys and men now consume hard drugs. There is no peace in our area. They go about stealing our goods, raping our children and carrying out other atrocities. While struggling to destroy one of the hideouts, a military man whose name we got as Zhang, a member of the 21st Military Battalion, warned the women to desist from destroying their houses while assuring them that they are not going to quit smoking anytime soon. Championing the no smoking campaign is a repentant hard drug consumer. He affirms that smoking is not good for the health and accounts for the numerous atrocities committed in Kumba.
I want to tell them the reality. If you like, no fight them now.
I used to smoke, but I decided to quit. Many men who smoke hard drugs are unable to take care of their families. My health is deteriorating, so quitting smoking was the best decision.
But as I be discovered, if you see me, my lookout.
The no smoking campaign, taking place in 3 corners, comes few weeks after women of Hausa Quarter carried out a similar exercise. They are hoping that stringent measures will be taken by the government in order to limit the consumption of hard drugs in their area.
In New South of the country, a military court in the DRC this Thursday, that was on Friday, has sentenced 26 people, including the leader of a rebel coalition, to death. This follows a high-profile televised trial that was last month. Over to Kenya, riot police have fired tear gas in the capital city, Nairobi, as small groups of people gathered to renew a protest against President William Ruto. A roundup of the stories with Lucie Liengo is here.
En conséquence, les en déclarent coupables et les condamnent chacun de ce chef à la peine de mort.
In the Democratic Republic of Congo, a military court has sentenced to death 26 people who are accused of taking part in attacks perpetrated by armed groups and the M23 rebels. Their trial started late last month. Among those who were sentenced to death in absentia is Colonel Nanga, the leader of the Alliance Fleuve Congo, AFC. He was found guilty of war crimes and participation, insurrection, and treason. Also, 5 of the accused, according to the president of the military court, have 5 days to appeal the sentence, as most of them were absent during the trial and also on the run. While in Kenya, this Thursday, the police fired tear gas at protesters in Nairobi. The angry population called on President William Ruto to step down as the new cabinet was sworn in. During the demonstration, the riot police patrolled the streets and roadblocks were set up on major arteries. Many shops were equally closed. The East African nation for weeks now has been rocked by deadly protests against President William Ruto's 2 years administration. And since the start of the demonstrations, more than 50 people have died and activities have been grounded, with public transport agencies closed. And in Nigeria, security forces have apprehended 6 Polish students and a lecturer for allegedly displaying Russian flags in the course of protests which have been ongoing against economic hardship. The Nigerian government, on its part, is concerned about the increased Russian influence in the protests. Meantime, Poland's foreign ministry has called on the release of its citizens detained in Nigeria. Demonstrations along major roads in Nigeria have intensified, with police firing tear gas to disperse multiple gatherings.
And now let's move on to this obituary. Issa Hayatou, former CAF president and also president of FIFA by interim, is no more. A principal actor in the African football development left the world. That was yesterday at the age of 77 in Paris, France. Cedric Chakuto now presents to us a portrait of Issa Hayatou in this report.
Born on August 9, 1946 in Gaura, North region of Cameroon, the former president of the Confederation of African Football would have been 78 years this Friday. Issa Hayatou was an accomplished sportsman from 1964 to 1971. He was an athlete and became Cameroonian champion in the 400 meters, and he took part in the very first African Games in Brazzaville in 1965. At the same time, he was a member of the Cameroonian national basketball team and an international university footballer from 1964 to 1971. Sports being in him, he became a physical education and sports teacher in Yaoundé, but only worked in his profession for 1 year. In 1974, he became Secretary General of the Cameroonian Football Federation. This was the start of a rise to the top of Cameroonian football, as he was first appointed in 1982 as Director of Sports at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. He then became Vice President of the Cameroonian Football Federation in 1984 and ended up as President of FECAFOOT 2 years later, at the same time as he was a member of the Executive Committee of the Confederation of African Football. The World Cup for the first time in Africa was one of his greatest successes in 2010 in South Africa, as well as the 5 African places in the final phase of the World Cup. The creation of the Champions League in 1997, the Olympic champion titles in 1996 with Nigeria, then in 2000 with Cameroon, will forever mark his presidency as interim president of International Federation of Association Football FIFA. In March 2017, he resigned over African football. Note should be made that it was under his mandate CAF and African football experienced their greatest phase of development. He will forever stay in our memories.
And now several persons across the world have been paying homage to the fallen Issa Hayatou. Public personalities and international media organs are mourning the death of Issa Hayatou, the sportsman. For some, he is someone who is irreplaceable. Cedric Chakutio captured some reactions in this other write-up.
After the announcement of Issa Hayatou's death at the age of 77-year-old, messages of condolences have been pouring in from public personalities, football players, associations, national and international media organs. They are all mourning the death of an important actor in African football. Cameroon Football Federation president and former player Samuel Eto'o on his Facebook page talks of a great man he knew as CAF president, FIFA interim president and FECAFOOT president when he was still a player. Former player and president of Liberia, George Weah, talks of the remarkable effect Issa Hayatou had on African football. Former Indomitable Lion player Joseph Antoine Bell comes to the memories kept of a man who was his classmate in school and a fan of football. Gianni Infantino, FIFA president, sends a message of condolences to his family in a whole. Same message sent by actual CAF president Patrice Motsepe. Ghana Football Association mourns the passing of former CAF president Issa Hayatou, who led the federation from 1988 to 2017. They also thank his visionary leadership. International media organ BBC also comes to the prolific moments of Issa Hayatou. In the last months of his life, Issa Hayatou, always quick to give his opinion on the progress of Cameroonian football, was appointed by presidential decree to head the board of directors of the National Football Academy. 3 years before his death, on January 15, 2021, he was still honored by CAF, which granted him the status of honorary president of the African Football Organization.
So that does it for the first part of the news. Talking Point comes up next. You don't want to go anywhere. Welcome back, viewers. We are moving into the weekend, and tonight we are going to be talking women empowerment and also domestic violence. Our guest tonight is Lisa Pruti. She is an author and also a gender activist. Lisa, thank you so much for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. Just to mention first that you are an author and of publication Taboo Life, which is about the story of your life. You were sexually harassed, but yet you surmounted the trauma. Welcome again, Lisa Pruti. Can you tell us more about that publication?
Thank you, Anne, for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. Taboo is actually a true story about my own life, my childhood, and my life as a young adult in Douala, Cameroon, and in Buda, where I was born, as well as Banjul, my mother's village. And so it talks about how I grew up, my upbringing, and all the difficulties that I went through, all the hardship that I faced, and how I was able to overcome that. And as a child, I went through a lot of things that a lot of young women go through, such as sexual abuse, extreme poverty, and also rejection, betrayal, heartbreaks, a lot of things. But on top of that, I also went through a situation where I had a double rape. And that led me to depression, and I was almost at the verge of taking my own life, but by the grace of God, I was able to overcome all of that. And today, being a woman of influence in the United States and even in Cameroon, as a certified coach, as an entrepreneur, I own a business now in Washington, D.C., Bridgelingual, that is like 2 minutes from the White House, a translation agency after my master's degree in New York University. And today I am an influencer per se in the real estate field, so doing all of that today and going from not even having a house, being homeless, to being able to own a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio, that is that young child that started in Buda, in Cameroon. So I wanted to tell my story. I wanted my story to inspire somebody. I wanted my story to tell somebody that whatever you're going through right now, I went through that, but by the grace of God, I was able to overcome it, and I want you to do that as well. So my book is a process of healing for myself, but it's also to help other people heal. It's also an opportunity to call people's attention on matters such as sexual abuse, such as extreme poverty, those parents that are giving birth to so many children that are not able to take care of them. I'm raising those issues so that we all know and learn how to raise our children, how to advise our children. But it's also an opportunity to target those people and really tell them that whatever it is that they're doing, it's harming human beings. And when you rape a girl, you are actually raping the entire life of that girl, because she will never be the same. So my book is really just a call for attention to very, very serious matters in the society.
And now, Lisa, getting inspiration from your life's experience, you were raped more than one time. Let's now talk about violence, especially those perpetrated in the home. It's now very recurrent in Cameroon lately. Official statistics tell us that 14 women were killed by their spouses, let's say their husbands, in just 6 months in Cameroon. That should be very alarming. What, according to you, can be some of the possible reasons, and why do most people, especially those who are sexually harassed in the family milieu, prefer to stay silent or quiet?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And to be honest, very, very honest with you, I don't know. I don't know where I got this courage and the strength from. But I know that I'm here today. But I also know that if when I was going through all of that, there was somebody that was able to advise me, that was able to listen to me, and that was able to guide me, at least help me heal psychologically, I'm sure it would have helped me a lot. I had to bury all of that inside my own mind for a long time, and that's really troubling for a child. So if somebody is going through what I went through, sexual abuse and all kinds of violences, I want to tell you, please don't keep silent. Don't keep silent. Talk to someone. If you cannot talk to your parents because you're scared that maybe they're going to reprimand you, they're probably going to beat you up, they're probably going to expose you as if you were the one that sought after that thing, whereas you're the victim. There are groups, there are associations, there are organizations out there that you can talk to, and one of them is Keywords for Success Foundation that I created here in Cameroon, where we have so many volunteers all over Cameroon that are ready to take care of you. So you can also go on my page, Coach Lisa Pretty, send me a message. Even the government has some local offices where you can go and and talk about the issue. Talk to somebody, even just your teacher, somebody that you trust, even your pastor, somebody that you trust you can talk to. But it's important to talk to someone. But I also want to take this opportunity though to really talk to the parents and all the elders out there. Please, every time that a child, a boy or a girl, comes to you to complain about sexual harassment or sexual abuse, it's very important that you take it seriously. The last time that I spoke to a lady at one of my conferences, she was really hurt, and she's 35 years old. She's not a child, but she was hurting because her parents, when she told them that she was sexually abused, what the mother did was she took pepper, hot pepper, and she sprayed that pepper on her private parts because she's telling her, you're the one that enticed that man to do that thing to you. You should not be doing this, you should not be doing that. But what I want to tell you parents, there is nothing that anybody can do that makes that person deserve to be sexually abused or raped. It's totally unacceptable, because otherwise all the mad people that you see out there that are walking around without any clothes on them, they'll be raped every day. But people are normal enough to know that I'm not going to rape this mad person. Why would you rape somebody's child? So really, this is just me calling out for people to help understand, listen, and guide those people that went through the trauma of sexual abuse.
All right, now as a survivor, let's call it that way, what message to those who are confused or are constantly violated yet do not know how to go about it?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And I believe that 14 is what is reported. And there are so many cases that aren't reported, that are being concealed. There's a lot going on. Women are going through a lot, but they're not talking. The reason being is that we have a judgmental society. And I'm really appreciating that you're giving me this opportunity on this platform to call out for people's attention. Please do not judge people that are going through certain situations. You don't know what they go through. The reason why that woman was staying there, she'll die in there, is because she knows that if she leaves that marriage, she's going to be labeled as a divorcee. This is a woman that was not able to hold a man. This is a woman that was not able to take care of her marriage. This is so, it's always going to be her fault. So for that reason, she's able to take in so much that at one point she's going to leave her life on the table. I'm just telling you today, dear fellow woman, please, your life is priceless, and you don't owe anybody your life and loyalty if that person cannot at least respect your integrity as a person. It's time for you to leave. If the person cannot go through therapy to be better, because no normal person would beat up a woman. No normal person would harm a woman, because a woman gave birth to you. Where do you take that courage to hurt somebody that could have given birth to you, or that gave birth to your children? Who does that? You definitely are not normal. And if you feel like you always feel like you have to raise your hand on a woman, it's time for you to see a doctor. And my dear fellow woman, if that man is not willing to see a doctor and try to be better, it's time for you to call it quits, because your life matters. Your life is important. And I'm saying the society has to change the mentality. And in my case, this is my second marriage, and I'm happy in this marriage. But I don't want to be in a situation one day where if I'm abused, I cannot start my life over just because people are going to say, but she went through this. She could have tried to stay there and try to fix it. There are things that cannot be fixed. Again, your life matters.
Thank you so much, Leader Priti, for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. We wish we could have more time to talk about sexual harassment, the trauma, and how to survive that. Thank you again, and hope to have you some other time. Viewers, thank you so much for being with us. Our programs continue. Equinoxe live from Yaoundé in about 30 minutes or so, and the news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. Have a beautiful weekend in the company of programs on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now.